here, then, Lord, I will start helping the church more. It's about wealth. Jesus is the one talking about it. The temptations of wealth. When I have more, then I will start supporting the church more. But then this is where the evil desire comes in. Now that I have a lot, I have some other things I've never been able to have that now I can go get. So let me go get those things, and now I'm right back here. But Lord, when I get some more money, then I will help the church a little more. We talked about this in Sunday school at Adrian this morning, and I'm here to tell you, as Jesus talked about the temptations of wealth for the Christian, and as I heard a preacher say earlier today about a different subject, if you have a problem with it, don't write me, don't email me, write Jesus and tell him, because he's the one that said it. The temptations of wealth for the Christian. I want you to hear this. If you will not give when you have a little, you are not going to give when you have a lot. I want that to be something that we understand today. If you have a little bit and you say, Lord, I would give the 10%, but wait till I have more and then I'll start giving. It's never going to come. As you start to go, those thorny weeds will go alongside of you, and Satan will tell you, yeah, but you know, you've been driving that 1988 car. And even though it's paid off, it ain't real dependable. Go ahead and get you one of them new sporty things. Go ahead and get you a big old truck, SUV. And I ain't putting out people with trucks and SUVs. I'm just saying that go ahead and get you that nice new vehicle. Go ahead and get you the $600, $700 a month payment. And then when you have it, oh man, I can't give what I was going to give because I got that payment. If I didn't have it, see, that's how the temptations of wealth work. As you are growing, as that seed is planted and you are growing, there is also a man called the devil, Satan, Lucifer, the father of lies. He is planting a seed alongside that is growing up, saying, no, enjoy this, have a little bit more. Well, preacher, I've never really had much money either way, so I really can't relate to that. Let me tell you in the forms of marriage how this works. You're married and there is growth. And things are going fine, but then that thorny weed starts coming up. And this is where the faulty idea comes in. Well, if my wife paid me more attention and did more like she should, I'd be a better husband. And then this is where that evil desire, the destruction of the crop comes in. That lady at work is certainly a lot nicer to you than your wife is. That lady you see out and about is certainly a lot nicer than your wife is. Every time you're with her, y'all are laughing and having a good time. She don't talk about your waistline getting a little bigger. She don't talk to you about bills. Yeah, y'all, a lot of y'all are laughing because you either heard it or you know somebody has heard it. She doesn't say anything about, well, we've got to do this and we've got to do this. We got a power bill, a water bill, a car payment. How in the world do you think we're supposed to go out? How are we supposed to? And you see what happens is you're at home and in this marriage where there is growth, you are starting to say, but you know what? They're not doing their very best. So there's that thorny weed coming up. So you decide, you know what? I'll give in to that evil desire. And I'll go ahead and I'll arrange to spend some time with this other woman that actually makes me feel a little better about myself. Let me tell y'all, this is not something that should be new to every one of us, but sometimes we need to hear it. The world is appealing. Temptation is appealing. The devil does not come to you with a pile of manure and say, here, you'll like this. He comes to you with something beautiful and glorious. He comes to you with something that is just so tempting and mouth-watering, and you're like, well, maybe if I just have a little taste. Just a little. And then the crop just starts to destroy. You see, as Christians, we are not exempt from the temptations of Satan. Every one of us that hear the teachings of God, we have two choices. We can become fertile soil and let that seed take root in our life, or we can hear it, but we can let the worries of life, we can let the temptations of wealth, and all other evil desires start to destroy us. It's a warning to Christians this part of the seed of the sower, the parable of the sower, is a warning to Christians. Because so many times we think that the message that goes out needs to be going out to non-believers. But sometimes spreading the good news is spreading the good news to people who have already heard the good news. But they need to know that do not think that once Jesus has you, that the devil gives up on you. When Jesus has you, the devil calls in extra reinforcement. He calls in more artillery. He calls in more demons. When Jesus has you, that is when Satan comes at you harder than he's ever come. Have you ever gotten to a place in your Christian walk that things were going wonderful and all of a sudden it's like somebody just jerked the cloth out from underneath you? Have you ever been there? That is Satan saying, I'm not going to let you have not even a second. Because just as Jesus is throwing down a seed, and I'm throwing 10 of them on the other side. Because there's a chance that you're not going to worry about your garden and you're going to let that thorny weed grow up. And then it's just going to start to puncture you and start to destroy you and start to choke you out. Something very interesting that when I was reading this, that I started to realize, that thorny thing, that thorny weed, that thorny soft branch that was wrapped into a circle and placed on our Savior's head, those thorns on his brow were the sins of our life. You see, he went into our garden and he said, you know what? You might not pick those weeds. You might not rid your life of those weeds. But I'm going to take a weed. I'm going to take a thorny crown that is going to symbolize all the weeds in your life. And I'm going to place it upon my brow. And I will kill every weed in your life. That is what Jesus did when he died on the cross. It wasn't just about the nails. It was about everything that day. It was about the crown. It was about the spear. It was about the mocking. It was about the thieves who he was in between. Everything that day had a meaning. Everything was symbolic. Some of y'all today, and I've been there. I haven't been there lately. But I've been there. Some of y'all today live in a briar patch. And it gets comfortable because I lived in that briar patch for many, many, many years. Even as a Christian, for many, many, many years, I lived in the briar patch. Because you know what? Once you get in there and you get past everything, if you just won't move, everything will be all right. If you will just stay still, just like old, was it Brer Rabbit, right, you know, that went into the briar patch? Don't remember that story? No. That's right. You get in there and that becomes home. You got all these thorns around you, and as long as you don't move, you're all right. And a lot of us do that. We get in the middle of a briar patch and it becomes home for us. Those weeds and those thorns, they become normal. And I'm not telling y'all that because I'm sitting in judgment, because I'm telling you, I have little thorn prick marks all over my soul to where that became home to me. And it's so easy to let that be home. I'm telling you here today, we are fixing to do a baptism. And baptism is about so many things. But I'm telling you right now, this morning, it's about a young man making a decision that I'm not going to live among those thorns and weeds anymore. I am not going to be determined by my surroundings. I'm not going to be judged by the worries of this life, the temptations of wealth, evil desires, lust. I'm not going to let that dictate who I am. They may be all around me, but you know what? I'm packing up and I'm getting out of this briar patch. I'm going to a nice field with green grass and beautiful flowers and a nice crop, and I'm going to enjoy all that God has given me because He did not create me to live among the weeds. None of y'all here this morning, no matter what you've done, deserve to be living among the weeds. The God says, be in this world, but do not be of this world. You have to be here, you have to live, you have to do things, but don't start to conform to the people in this world. Because the non-believers, the sin in the world, that is the weeds that are looking to choke you out. This morning, as we go through this baptism, I'm going to make reference to you about remembering your own baptism. I'm going to make reference to you about remembering times in your life that you felt so close to God. And I may even ask you to go back there. I may ask you when you leave here this morning to go back to that close relationship, because those thorns are gone. Those thorns went away on Calvary. Jesus was crucified with a crown of thorns. They talk about the cross later. They talk about the linen cloth that was in the tomb. They talk about Jesus not being there. What happened to the crown? What happened to the thorns? They're gone. They can't touch you anymore. Everybody was laughing at the point Miss Patsy about that roundup. Jesus is the roundup for sin in your life. He will destroy and get rid of every bit of it. Remember that as we go through this special service today. As y'all know, we are having a special service.